Wait.
Tell me the killer's name! 20 seconds!
I don't know! No!
Fuck! Hey, how could any of this even happen? Mira was everything to me. A lowly ice cream clerk and a beautiful goddess of a customer. She seemed like a rare flower, forever out of my reach. It made me happy just to see her smile from behind the counter. But I took her order, and we spoke for a bit. Day after day, we talked like that. I wanted to be with her. If she needed help, I wanted to be there. I started to feel like I'd do anything for her. Mira was the one to ask me out the first time. Every date after that, I took the initiative. The longer we dated, the more and more I came to like her. I really loved her. Somehow, I felt like she was a lot like my mother. To tell the truth, I don't really remember much about my mother anymore. She died when my brother and I were still pretty small. But she was a good cook, and liked things clean. She was always smiling. And above all, her gentleness and warmth are what I remember the most. I guess putting it that way, her and Mira aren't very similar at all. But still, I felt something in who Mira is. Something that's a lot like her. Everything just seemed so bright after I met her. I couldn't help but think every day was great. I was going to propose. I scraped together all my money and bought an engagement ring. And then... Why? Why did this have to happen?
Hey, Eric. Let's work together to find the killer. I'm really sad Mira died too. I'll never forgive the person who did it. That's why. This is...
Are listening to a message just like this one in their ward's decontamination room.
That can't be.
We can press. What? It's not a that button on the wall. What will you press it or refuse?
Wait.
I'm doing.
What?
It's not.
It's not.
But if we to her,
Wait.
how can?
She's...
Diana, what did you just...
Are you kidding me? You just finished begging me to trust the others. What the hell was all that for? Answer me, Diana!
I don't know. I don't know why I pushed the button.
Not again.
What do you mean?
Our vote back at 1330? Diana chose C-Team instead of going along with what was on the note. I asked her why, and she said the same thing as now. I don't know.
That's ridiculous. I don't know about that.
I know.
What?
I'm saying I know what you don't know. My thought earlier, that we probably...
You made a wise decision. You sacrificed the lives of others in order to continue your own survival. It truly is a natural human reaction. You simply made an emergency evacuation. The action is legally justifiable. There is no blame to be placed on you for your decision. Now, I'm sure you would like to get out of here immediately. But before that, I apologize. But you must all sleep again.
1929. Our time is up.
You have done exactly as I commanded. The memory loss drug will not be injected into the three of you. It would be inconvenient if you forgot you caused the deaths of others.
No! How did this happen?
Pleasant dreams.
think it's the decontamination room.
Decontamination?
Huh. This is weird.
Weird?
I feel like I've been trapped in this room before.
You must be imagining things.
I guess.
Wait, this button.
It's the same for you, Carlos?
You feel it as well?
Yeah, not just her. I sense it too. Somehow, this button is very important.
Maybe we've forgotten about this place.
The drugs and the bracelets?
What?
Hey, look what time it is. It's after midnight.
So, it's the next day?
Not just day, but year. It's 2029 now.
What a horrible start to the year.
Now announcing the current casualties. C-Team, Carlos, Akane, Junpei. Q-Team, Q, Mira, Eric. These 6 are now deceased. As a result, 6 X-passes will be revealed. Shift, 6, Ring, Age, Heart, Love. That is all.
Damn you, Zero!
I will never forgive him!
No!
Diana, tell me one more time. You didn't choose to push it, did you? The button in the decontamination room.
No. For a split second, it was as if... It was as if someone had taken control of my body.
Has this ever happened to you before? Then maybe you hit your head somewhere.
I don't think so. That I can remember, anyway.
What are you trying to say, Phi?
Well, I thought it might be possible it was alien hand syndrome.
What? Alien hand?
It happens very rarely when the corpus callosum, where the right and left hemispheres connect, is abnormal. Remember, the right brain controls the left side, and the left controls the right. So if the communication paths that connect them are damaged, the left and right sides of your body may fall out of sync. Like trying to put a shirt on with your right hand, but taking it off with your left. Grabbing onto a scalding pan with your right hand while your left tries to make it let go. Or something even stranger, when your right hand attempts to suffocate you, so you use your left to restrain it. I've heard of cases where it's happened. An interesting development arises with that story. Where does a human's consciousness exist? Is it in the left brain or the right? When your right hand's choking you and your left's trying to stop it, that would imply that the part of you that doesn't want to die is in the right brain. But what if in the left brain, there's another part of you buried inside that does want to die? So, if you ever ask that person, do you want to live or die? If the center for speech is located in the right brain, he'd clearly say, of course, I want to live. But what if it's the reverse? If the center for speech is in the left brain, then I'm sure he'd say, hurry up and kill me. There's no way to know which one is the true self. Or, perhaps, it's more like they both are. It's just simply that the one who has the power of speech is more dominant. Have you ever considered, what if your body was split into left and right? In that moment, where would your consciousness go? Left or right?
Hey, Fi. What are you getting at with this?
The alien mouth syndrome. My mouth speaks for itself, regardless of what I want it to do.
How can you be joking around at a time like this?
No, it's because we're in the situation that I brought it up.
Well, like you said, it doesn't feel real. Hearing the announcement or reading on the board.
You think those 6 might still be alive?
Let's keep believing.
There's no point. The 6 of them are definitely dead.
How do you know?
Well, I don't know.
You alright, Gab?
This guy doesn't know anything, does he?
He's lucky.
Well, we may as well get going. Like Sigma said earlier, we shouldn't lose hope. Let's have faith that they're still alive. Besides, that is even more of a reason that we must keep going.
So we can go and bring back a rescue team?
Exactly.
Let's go.
I'm not going.
Huh?
Diana!
Wonderful acting. It's an excellent strategy. Your actions in that decontamination room. I'm surprised you found it so fast. At that moment, all you wanted was to get out quickly. To make that a reality, it just happened that the fastest way was to touch a yellow button and kill the other 6 participants. However, pressing the button just like that would make you a murderer and a person. And even if you did escape after, in a court of law, what you did would be considered bad by judge and jury. So you thought, how could I make this not as bad for me? What you came up with was, so simple. You simply needed multiple personalities.
No!
Not to casually bring up the topic of multiple personalities. No one would believe you. The only way to make it believable was to do something unbeneficial. And that is why you refused. We both know that 5 were in the rescue team back in the shelter. You saw all of that in advance.
No! No, 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 no!
Let us meet again somewhere. Stop at Mata Dolorosa. I will be awaiting that moment.
I'll go check out the other rooms.
Have fun.
Hmm. 1810.
That Eric. Why is he even bothering to look in the other rooms? We already searched through each one when we first woke up. Nothing.
I don't think we've seen all of them. There was that one room we couldn't figure out how to get into.
Oh, that's right. Let's go!
Whoa!
How crazy is this? I was tapping spots on the wall in the hallway when...
You opened some kind of secret door. You did good, I'm impressed.
Oh, wow! This room has a whole lot of books.
You like to read?
Do you like to read?
I don't know.
Come on, you're talking about yourself here.
I don't know. Do I like to read?
So, what is this room anyway?
Study? Oh, it's practically an entire library. Seems like someone was just here.
Who? The only one who can wander freely would be...
Right. It's got to be Zero. So that means...
This is Zero's study?
If it is, then there's gotta be some sort of clue. Something about who Zero is, or how to get out of this crazy place.
If anything was hidden in here... Those safes would be the best bet.
Let's start looking.
What does kill one mean?
Must mean we have to kill someone.
We have to.
What the?
Is that...
No!
Junpei!
No!
Did Carlos just kill himself?
I think so.
But why?
Maybe it had to do with Junpei's body?
Now announcing the current casualties. C-Team, Carlos, Junpei. D-Team, Diana, 5, Sigma. These 5 are now deceased. As a result, 5 X-passes will be revealed. Fight, jump, blue, red, milk. That is all.
Wait, It mentioned 5 people, right?
Aside from us, Akane's left.
But why in the world did D-Team...
The execution. Back during the vote at 1330, D-Team was... Well, the reason why isn't the issue. What's important is the reveal of 5 X-passes. In other words...
If one more person dies...
Hey, guys, we should stay calm now. Let's just put these weapons down.
Put yours down first.
But what are you saying, Eric? If I put mine down, then you'll...
Huh?
Look over there!
Why, Mira? We're in love. Aren't we?
Eric, this will be hard for you to hear, but I think you might be mistaken about that.
You're lying!
Then why is a gun pointed at you right now?
No, it's not what it looks like, Eric. I love you with all that I am.
Mira.
So you know what you need to do, right?
Huh?
You don't get it?
What do you mean?
God, how dumb can you get?
Mira, this isn't you trying to get Eric to kill me, is it?
Don't be stupid. I have this gun pointed at him so that I can protect you, of course. If I drop my weapon, then Eric will...
And Eric, how about you putting yours down first?
No way! Not happening. If I put this down, you'll definitely kill Mira.
There's no way I would.
How would I know? What proof do I have that you won't up and fire that thing?
Hey, we aren't getting anywhere like this. If just one more person dies. One more person. One more. Just one more. All right. I'll just slowly put my weapon down first. So now, you two?
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
No!
What an idiot.
Now announcing the current casualties. C Team, Carlos, Junpei. Q Team, Q. D Team, Diana, Vi, Sigma. These 6 are now deceased. As a result, 6 X-passes will be revealed.
Let's go, Mira! Let's get out of here. Build a happy home and wonderful future together.
Yeah.